Ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube universe, what is going on with you on this Saturday afternoon? It is Saturday, April 20th, 2024, roughly 5:15 p.m. California time. I am, of course, your always gracious host, Fallon from GoNootropics.com, coming at you with the Yogi Positive Energy Tea. Cheers. It is the notorious 420, of course. Maybe some of you are celebrating, right? Maybe some of you out there do partake in the cannabis. Maybe some of you guys watch these videos. You don't even take kratom. You're more of a cannabis smoker. It's been years since I've smoked cannabis. It just made me real slow, man. Just real slow, just real dragged down, real unmotivated, a lot more than I am now. I don't need any other help, right? I need uppers. I need things to animate the carcass. I don't need any help demotivating the carcass, right? That's kind of like the default state. It's like once you come off kratom in these things, the nicotine, this is, I think, day number 8. Just we powered through the nicotine withdrawals, and I'm realizing how a lot of my anxiety stemmed from the nicotine. I gave up the nicotine, gave up I had a cup of coffee yesterday, but gave up a lot of my caffeine intake. I reduced it, and I'm realizing it was like the nicotine, the constant flow of nicotine, kratom, and caffeine was like you're running on this hectic energy day in, day out. You're running on this, it's almost like your life it feels very chaotic once you come off these things, and you begin to feel the calmness, right? You begin to feel calm. You begin to feel centered. Right now, I'm the calmest I've ever been in terms of anxiety. Just the calmest I've ever been. Still not like totally not anxious, but there's this level of calmness that I didn't have when I was taking kratom, when I was popping in the nicotine pouches, when I was drinking a ton of caffeine. It was like from the moment I woke up, it was just irritation, feeling overstimulated pretty much most of the day. Having a nicotine pouch in my cheek at nearly all times, right? These things contribute to your anxiety and just not feeling calm, right? People running around with anxiety, but it's like, well, they're smoking and they have the nicotine pouches, they're vaping, they're drinking coffee all day, and it's like, I think most people could eliminate their anxiety totally if they just gave up the caffeine, which is obviously, who wants to do that? Who wants to give up coffee, man? Who wants to give up nicotine? I'm still sitting here thinking, man, it'd be nice to have some nicotine right about now. Because I did get into the habit of, shooting these videos and popping in a pouch before I shot the videos, and then popping in another pouch after the video was shot. It became habituated. I've been using nicotine for the past 5-6 years easily, nonstop, at least in the pouch form. There was a time when I smoked cigarettes, but I switched to the pouches, especially after I quit drinking. I just kind of switched to the Zens and the Ons, and those became, I've been squirreling those away in my cheeks for years now. Those those On nicotine pouches, the Zens. And so it's like that had been habituated for like 5-6 years. I was taking that nicotine, and it's proving like even here on day number 7, the psychological draw and the psychological pull to consume nicotine is still there. every time I shoot these videos, it's like I have 5-6 years of a habituated practice of popping in a nicotine pouch for the past 5 or 6 years. And this isn't gonna, this will go away with time, but these psychological withdrawals can take some time to fully dissipate. And so, yeah, you're like, at this point, if you do choose to cut out some of these things, the nicotine, the kratom, a lot of the coffee, maybe some other addictions, you will find that you do become more stable. You're like the stable carcass. This is like what this feels like. It's like the stable carcass. You're very stable. You're not in the worst mood. You almost wonder if this is just what normal feels like, if this is what normal feels like, without drugs, without alcohol, without nicotine, without caffeine, all these things. Is this just what normal feels like? And it's not a bad feeling, but if you've been self-medicating for a long time, it is a little bit of like a foreign feeling, and you do subjectively feel like a carcass compared to how you might normally feel using the nicotine, using the kratom, using the alcohol, all these things. It's this kind of weird carcass stability that you just seem to get once you quit all these things. And it's nice. Your anxiety is basically reduced to nothing. I don't think people understand how much of if you are an anxious person, how much of that has to do with just the stimulants you take every day. Like, man, kratom, nicotine, and caffeine all day, like how I spent my life for many, many years, I was always irritable. I was always anxious. Always in kind of like this fear, right? If you deal with anxiety for a long time, it's almost like you develop almost like a fear that comes inside of you. And it's largely related to the stimulants and the adrenaline and the cortisol that these types of things tend to overproduce. And you just kind of get burnt out. You get burnt out on that. And so coming down off these things, and you feel the carcass begin to stabilize, and it's just, you wonder if there's more to it than this. It's been 30 days. I'm no pro at this myself. I wonder if there's something more than this. Do we keep going up from here? Do we stabilize further after 30 days, kind of cutting a lot of this crap out? And, it kind of feels good not being racked with a near constant level of anxiety, having more control over emotions, being less snappy. It feels good, but at the same time, you're psychologically missing that hit that you used to get from the kratom, the nicotine, the caffeine, and all that. You're still in the back of your head. You remember what that feels like, and you just wonder if you can adapt to the life of the stable carcass, right? You wonder if you can adapt to this new life of stability, and if you can kind of deal with kind of the boredom. Will you be able to manufacture excitement? Will you be able to suckle the juices, right? This is what I really want to learn. I want to learn how to suckle the juices of life. Learn to enjoy these tender moments. How many hours go by in our day? It's just, but we're living in this very anxious state. It's like we're hungry ghosts, always searching for something, and we're never really present to enjoy the smaller, finer things. Just finer things. I'm talking about looking at a flower or something so simple that you can't recognize when you're taking kratom, nicotine, coffee, stimulants, Adderall, booze, whatever it is. You can't recognize these beautiful little suckles of life. If you're taking stimulants all day, if you're taking kratom, if you're taking these things that kind of juice the carcass for you, it's like you don't have to do any work. These things, they juice and they animate the carcass for you. which is nice, but then you realize that, man, you just can't enjoy the basics anymore, and it's pretty sad. It's honestly sad when you can't enjoy the sunset, or you can't, enjoy some of these little pleasures. It's like that doesn't do it enough for you anymore, because now you're accustomed to juicing the carcass in kind of these tremendous ways, in these very powerful and potent ways. So yes, the carcass stabilizes, and you figure out how to juice the carcass. Right. You got to figure out how to juice the carcass. So that is the video of the day, ladies and gentlemen. As always, Fallon, gonootropics.com. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And I will see you very soon. Peace.